Hello, good morning. Just checking in whether you can hear me, whether I'm loud and clear. Let me know. I think I am live. Everything is flowing more this morning. And I've got this good friend who always, when she pops in, or when we are on holiday together, she'll always say, well, hello. So I was kidding with her yesterday, and I thought, let me just start today and just talk to my tribe, because you're my friends. It's so good to always see you, and always such a delight to pop in and say hello on a Saturday morning. And so today's Facebook Live is inspired from my life. And Jim Quick, who wrote a book called Limitless. I mean, and don't we all just want to be limitless? Oh, when I saw that movie, I wished I could be limitless. I'm discovering I am limitless within my mind, within my imagination, and in terms of what I can create, I'm limitless. So he said that the life you live are the lessons you teach. And a lot of the times my Facebook Lives, I get the inspiration while I'm doing something, or I get an aha moment. And this past week, we were dancing our bones in Mia. And I had this sensation of my bones being like this infrastructure that holds everything together, that holds this beautiful body together, that allows me to be flexible, that allows my muscles, that holds my muscles, that helps me to move through my beautiful flexible spine into this world and into my life and into my days. And as we were dancing our bones, we needed to go right down onto our haunches. So we went into the small, short bones, and then we would leap up into the long bones and stretch. And I had such a sense of soaring, like I was light, and I was, from my haunches, I could lift and I could fly into the sky. It was the most unbelievable experience. And I thought, wow, this is how it was with sobriety. If I just think back to even a year, just over a year, March last year, when we went into lockdown, and one of the ways that I decided to manage my mental, my physical, and my spiritual health was by doing at least 4 NIA classes a week, 3 to 4 depending on how many were offered, and to do them on Zoom and to just start. And I remember how weak I was. I was 8 kilograms heavier than I am now. And I was very frustrated. Johan, my husband, used to laugh, and he used to say, you know, my sweetie, what's happening on the screen with Zoe and what's happening behind the screens with you are 2 very different movements. And there was a lot of frustration, and I felt weak, and after like 5 minutes I was exhausted. And now, a year later, here I am. My core is strong. I've built muscles. I can do planks. I can go down into my haunches. I can do so many. I can do shoulder stands. I feel the strength in my shoulders and my muscles, and I'm like, wow. This is like one of the side benefits, is just feeling this absolute strength within my body. And I remember the frustration, I remember the hard, I remember the emotions of often just thinking, oh, not today, the languishing feeling of the whole lockdown, everything changing. However, I consistently just kept on doing my NIA, and after every class finding that there was a shift, there was a learning, there was a new joy, there was an aliveness. So why do I want to talk about that today? Because so often I find that even with myself, when I was back in the early days when I used to think about quitting, I would always talk myself out of it. I would get these emotions would come up of, can I? And I realized that so many of us aren't aware of our emotional patterns, because everything we do and we don't do in life is because of how we feel. And neuroscience has proven that now. So I want you to just think about it this morning. We're going to be talking about really how to manage our emotions and create the life that we want to soar into, that freedom, that strength, that flexibility to just dance with life. From when we want to create use the emotions that help us create that, versus the ones that keep us stuck. And the other thing that Jim Quick says, when we're learning, we need to be doing. We need to always ask ourselves these three master questions, which are, so how am I going to incorporate that into my life? Why would I? And when? And he says the why is very important. So when you're learning something new, so if I'm sharing something with you today, for example, on Facebook, just ask yourself, how is this useful for me? Why would I want to take it on? And then practice it. So I think it's David Goggins who is this really badass Navy SEAL trainer, ultra marathon runner. And he trains people to get like awesome bodies. And he says that he's always so fascinated by when people come to him, they're more interested in the recovery than in the work. So where's my recovery period? Where's my rest period? And he says what you should be saying is, where's the work? And then the recovery. And so if we think about our sobriety, so often we think about, I just want to recover. We think about our recovery as ditching the drink. But actually what it is, yes, it is putting the drink away, saying I'm going to take a break, but then it is doing the work and really putting that work in, the work that went in for almost 16 months now with my Nia, that got me to the point where I'm so strong. And I marvel at it, because if you saw me almost 4 years ago, before I went on this path, I had chronic pain. My chiropractor told me that he couldn't treat me, that there was something seriously wrong because my body was on fire. I had my helper praying for my legs because they would ache so incredibly. So for me to be here now, dancing, soaring in my dance and feeling the liberation is it's a miracle. And it all started with learning how to manage my emotions, learning how to be with them, feel them, and use the ones that help me make the difference in my life. I'm going to talk to you about that. Okay, so that is what today is about. So let me see who's here. I can see the comments. Hi Merlene, how, why, when? Yes. Why do you want to get sober? How are you going to do it? And when are you going to start? Well, if you are in it, wonderful. Yeah, okay, so hi Diane. Oh, so good to see you here this morning. It's always so good to see people coming in, and it's just delightful. And seeing your faces again, my heart is just warm. Morning, Sue. Morning, Susan. So morning to everybody. I see friends here. Oh, wow, it's just wonderful. Natasha, Lucy. Hi, my Lucy. Oh, okay, let me get started. So I'm going to ask you to do something for me now. I'm going to ask you to think about what are the most useful emotions that you have. And you can pop them into the comments box. But think about, what are your most useful emotions that you have? So if I think about mine and the ones that have really helped me get sober, the ones that have helped me stick to my Nia dance routine, those emotions have been love, determination. Determination is a big one for me. I remember how determined I was to get those moves, even when Johan was cracking up at me looking like a bit of a duck rather than a swan, or yeah. I was so determined. I was so determined. On the 18th of August 2017, I was so determined that this was not going to be my life. I was going to drop that drink. So that was a very powerful emotion for me. Courage. Courage is another one. Curiosity, gratitude, Those are all the emotions that get me into action. Let me see what you have shared here with me. Have you shared any? Ooh. Hi, Shez. So what are your most useful emotions? Yes. I'm just looking if I can see any here. Yeah, what a transformation. And Janet saw me 4 years ago. Diane, love, courage. Anger, if you use it as a change driver. Anger is a very interesting one, and it's true. Anger can be used to drive change. But if we just, but for me, I rather like to choose love, because love opens me, whereas anger can sometimes close me down. But I do remember when I was in Rishikesh with a sannyasi called Saraswati Bhagavati Ji. I just adored her, and she was saying that we should use our emotions to take the right action. So if something that you see angers you, then take the right action to right it. Yeah, so anger can be, determination is a big one for me. Yeah. So now, what are some of the most debilitating emotions that you experience? So for me, one of the most debilitating emotions that I experience is panic. When I'm in panic, it's a disaster. And the debilitating emotions are really the ones that keep us in brain 1.0, which is our fight, flight, or freeze. So when you notice you've got this emotion, your heart quickens, maybe your palms become sweaty, you can't think, you're just in a panic. Conflict is another one for me, facing conflict. It has me in a panic, it has me wanting to run away, I don't want to face it, I think I'm going to die, fear, I'm terrified. I used to be absolutely terrified of rejection. It was, I would do anything just not to feel that emotion. So rejection was a big one for me. And all of these emotions, they kind of keep us stuck. They don't get us into action. They keep us like in fight, flight, or fight. We just don't want to move. Self-doubt, doubt is another big one for me. Uncertainty, feeling like a victim. That used to be mine. Feeling victimized all the time, feeling small. So those are all the emotions that really would not even get me trying. They would keep me stuck. So which are some of the most debilitating ones for you? Let me see if you shared some with me. Lucy, you said joy, curiosity, hope. Yes, as positive ones. Yes, it's the ones that are useful. Lucy, bloody-mindedness. Oh, that is so funny. Yeah. Yeah. Anxiety, panic, and procrastination. Okay. Self-loathing. Yeah. Those emotions, we can't self-loathe ourselves into a life that is thriving. We need to learn to love ourselves. What's the point? Yeah, that's another one. It's a thought, and the thought of what's the point? What does that lead to? Defeated. Defeated is another very debilitating emotion. It leads us to be powerless. And what I want to get you to think about are, what are your most indulgent emotions? These are the emotions that we go to. They are the ones that are easily, our brain likes these emotions. We've felt them so often that they've become like, we've rinsed and repeated them, that we spin in these emotions like a washing machine, over and over, the same cycle. So rinse and repeat, these indulgent emotions that there's no upside to them, but we keep going to them. So for me, I easily get into a mental fatigue, overwhelm, I'm so overwhelmed. Oh, I'm so stressed. I'm confused. I'm so worried. It's like these emotions, like I'm so worried, often it tells me that I care, but I'm so worried, and I'm worried is not really getting me into any action. So, what are your most indulgent emotions? Another one one for me, when I'm in overwhelm, when I'm confused, when I'm bored, when I'm feeling defeated, I often go into procrastination. That's the action. So procrastination is when we don't take action, and our indulgent emotions keep us where we are. Think about it when you really feel like having a drink. Then it's kind of, not today. I'll rather tomorrow. I've deserved it. I've had such a hard day. I'm so stressed. We tell ourselves these things and we feel these feelings and we think they're so uncomfortable, we need to escape from them. So how do we do it? What do we do with these indulgent emotions? So in coaching we always say that we create a space where we hold all emotions, where we allow all emotions. And it's important to allow all emotions because you want to see the patterns. You want to see the ones that keep you stuck. You want to see the ones that you're feeling over and over again. If you notice that there's a lot of why me, victim kind of emotions, why can't I drink like everybody else? My life is so hard. I'm so stressed. If you're really ruled by your circumstances and you use those as an excuse, you want to hold the emotions. You want to create space for them. You want to observe them, and then you want to engage the emotion of curiosity. So, okay, what is going on here? So is there an antidote? Do you think there's an antidote to our indulgent emotions, our debilitating emotions? And if so, what could be the antidote? Let me see. Okay, Ashley, self-doubt and insecurity, yes. Perfectionism. Perfectionism just keeps us not doing anything. It's like the perfect excuse we give ourselves not to get into action. Because how can we ever do anything perfectly? What have I done wrong again? Oh yeah, that question. What have I done wrong again? Defeat. Yeah. Good enough is okay. Yeah. So if you find yourself procrastinating, you probably are allowing a lot of those indulgent emotions to take over. They're subconscious. Our brain is very efficient, so it runs these as a go-to, and we think that there's an upside to them, but there's not. Okay, so the antidote, according to Lucy, is grade 6. Well, grade 6 would get us into love or into good endorphins, and we are like the soup of. We're not logical. We are actually biological, because we are full of serotonin and oxytocin and endorphins and of course dopamine. We are soup of all of these chemicals that run our brain. Yeah. So what is the antidote? So according to Mel Robbins, one of her best antidotes is for her to get into action, to overcome the emotions that keep her stuck, is to use the 5-second rule. And I've shared that with you here before, the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I still go to it if I think to myself, oh, am I going to do my class tonight? Or am I going to do, I've set 2 hours aside in my schedule to prepare for my Facebook Live. Am I going to do it now? Am I going to procrastinate because I'm feeling a little bit overwhelmed? Then I'll 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, start. If I feel like just ruminating in bed, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, out. It's a beautiful tool to use to just switch. So, and that is really what the antidote is to the emotions that don't serve us. Is we need to be aware of them. We need to start practicing the ones that are going to get us out of it. And it's practice. Remember in the beginning I was saying to you, a lot of the time we absorb a lot of information but we don't practice it. So practice the emotions, practice what it feels like to do something from love. What does love feel like before you take an action? If you feel the worry coming, say stop for 5 minutes. I'm not going to stop, and then you can start expanding the time. For the next 5 minutes, I'm not going to stop. I'm panicking. Right now, I'm safe. For the next 5 minutes, I'm not going to panic. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Make the switch. It's a beautiful antidote. And so what am I using to create here with? I'm using the prefrontal cortex, our sage, our inner wisdom. We've got that. Our inner wisdom pops up and tells us. If we just listen, if we just get quiet enough, just drop down into the wisdom. We allow the emotions, we observe them, we get curious, and then we allow our prefrontal cortex to direct. Which one do I want to try on now? I want to learn a new skill. It's always uncomfortable. So which emotion do I want to try on now? I have to make the decision that I'm going to do a dry January. That means tonight, when the wine witch comes, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, I'm going to have my beautiful kombucha instead. I'm going to interrupt that emotion. I'm going to interrupt that feeling of, I want it, I need it, that urge. I'm going to interrupt it. For the next 5 minutes, I'm not even going to allow for it. One of the ways to do it. And the other one is we're learning to use our prefrontal cortex. We go more into our imagination. And Deepak Chopra says that we can use our brains for anxiety and worry thoughts, or we can use our brain to create an imagination and to use our imagination to get us to wherever we want to be in this world. So we can imagine our future. We can imagine the life that we want. We can imagine these beautiful emotions. When we imagine that, it is amazing how we feel so much better. And so I want to leave you today with 2 questions, really, that I want you to think about, and that is, when last did you create or think about a result that you created that you really loved? A result that you created that you really loved. And what emotions helped you create that result? You can journal about it tonight, you can journal about it afterwards, but I want you to really be with that. Think about it and create those emotions. Bring them in. You've done it before. You've created results in your life before that you loved. Use those emotions to drive you to ditch the drink. Those same ones, the positive ones, the determination, being flexible, love, courage, curiosity, gratitude. Use those emotions. And when you notice that you're going back into victimhood, or you're feeling victimized, or you're feeling overwhelmed, or you're just feeling stressed, just notice them, allow for them, and decide not to go there. Decide to go to love, to gratitude, to determination, and I promise you, you won't believe how your life can change. And if there's one thing I want to share, is that it's possible. And I want to always be an example of what is possible. Thank you so much for being here with me this morning. And I just want to see what some of you shared with me as well. Oh, Lucy says 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 is so hard. shame is a toxic emotion, and I want to say this, that shame is one of those indulgent emotions. We think that shame is going to, we're going to shame ourselves into taking the proper action, but actually shame keeps us right stuck. It keeps us in a very low vibration, and we want to up our vibration. We want to use the emotions that get us excited. We want to be in anticipation. Thank you everyone. Rumination is toxic. If we ruminate, I know, Catherine, it's one of the most, we ruminate, that's an action. Actually, the rumination is the action of where we think over and over the same thoughts. And those emotions are just keep us stuck. Yeah. We have this beautiful imagination, so just use your imagination. Create a beautiful life that you don't want to escape from. I look forward to seeing some of you later at the Zoom cafe, and in 2 weeks' time I'll be back. Have a beautiful Saturday, and see you all soon. Bye.